Hey everybody, this is Justin from frugalsnobs.com. What's up, YouTube? I brought Christina with me. Say hello.
Hello.
We brought another currency review video for everyone. We hope everyone is enjoying the currency review videos. This time, we actually brought a video from the first full series of banknotes or tickets from outside the United States. We'll explain the ticket thing in a second. And that is the 1963 series of Mexican peso tickets. It's the first full series that we have from outside the U.S., is it not?
Yes.
So there are 9 tickets or notes in this series. I'm going to let Christina drive the majority of the audio here, since you did a lot of research on these tickets, and you're the proud owner of all 9
Yes.
notes or tickets in the series.
Yes.
So this is the 1 peso note. So let's go ahead and talk about this note.
It's a gorgeous note. It's definitely
Looks very similar to a U.S. dollar.
It is very similar because it was actually printed by the same company that prints our notes.
So at this point in history,
Yes.
in 1961 through 70, even though it's the 1963 series, which is the interesting part, the notes began printing in 1961 from the American Banknote Company.
Yes, and that's why they're actually similar in size and colors. Well, not really colors, but just the dimensions of the note in general, the layout.
Right, and the American Banknote Company, I believe, is based in New York State.
Mm-hmm.
So the material of the note is similar as well
Yeah.
to printed notes from the United States during the same time frame.
Correct. It has the same feel. The colors are definitely more vibrant, though, especially whenever you compare the 63 series to the notes that were released in the 60s from the United States.
Right, and these, I mean, particularly the United States Treasury notes, particularly the $2 bill,
Yes.
released in 1962,
Yes.
for example. So, interesting note. Feels like it has some embossing on the Bank of Mexico printing, as you had mentioned to me before the video. So, it's interesting. And you had some additional comments about the layout of the note with respect to its similarities to Canadian currency.
Yeah, it is. It's very similar because as you've seen with the Canadian currency from our previous videos, go check them out. There's actually a border of ones around this note as well, or ticket. And then it has a 1 in each corner,
Mm-hmm.
and then on a larger one on each side of the sunstone that is in the center of the actual ticket.
And this sunstone measures quite large, of course, in actual scale, but it was adjusted for the detail for the note.
Yes, and it has very intricate detail, and they definitely took as much detail as they possibly could and scaled it down.
Right. So you have, I believe, 4 seasons or 4 quadrants, I guess.
4 suns and a wheel of 20 days with a circle of 5 elements, 5 fire serpents,
Mm-hmm.
and the god Tonatua in the center.
Tanatua.
Yes.
Tanatua. So I actually spent some time living in Mexico, everyone. I lived in Puebla, Mexico for quite some time. I took some classes in Mexico at a university there. So it's pretty cool. I actually took a trip to Teotihuacan while I was in Mexico. So it is kind of cool to see some of this Aztec artifact mentioned and actualized on currency. It's pretty cool. Especially when you go to see things like the sun and moon temples. It's really cool to see some of this featured on banknotes. So, interesting note. Any other details or intricacies on the front side of the note you wanted to talk about?
It's actually really pretty because it goes from a orange-blue fade to a red-green to you hit the sundial on each side.
Also, just one other point, and Christina, you can chime in here. This is the first series of notes or tickets that were produced from a United Bank of Mexico.
Yes, with that, these started to come out after the fall of the Second Mexican Empire.
Right, and up to that point, every state in Mexico, Tlaxcala, Guadalajara, all these different states in Mexico had their own banks.
Yes.
And printed their own notes.
Yes.
So at this point, these tickets are the first series of United banknotes to be produced from a United Bank of Mexico.
Correct.
Anything else you want to talk about on the front side of the note, or any other history?
That's the bulk of it. I mean, it's a real pretty note. I mean, definitely more intricate and...
It was better than I expected
Yeah.
it to be. And when we actually went on to start purchasing these notes to add to our collections, Christine, you were very excited about these notes. I was kind of a little bit lackluster, a little bit lukewarm on the notes. But I'm kind of eating crow a little bit. I do have the 1, the 5, and the 10 peso ticket, but you have the entire series. So let's take a look at the back side of the note.
All right, on the back side, it's dominantly a red monotone color, with the exception of 2 stamps that are on the back. One stamp in the lower left-hand corner is the bank seal, and then there's just another more intricate anti-counterfeiting seal on the top that's in a darker gray. The rest is in a monotone red color.
Now, I have a question about this seal that you're looking at
Yes.
on the note. Is it a raised seal, an embossed seal? Is there any raised ink or anything of that sort, or is it just a smooth finish?
It's just a smooth finish.
Okay, and on the back side of the note, you have an image of a monument, and I was going to let you talk a little bit more about this monument.
It's known by two different things. It's the Monument to Independence,
Mm-hmm.
or the other thing that they know it as is Angel of Independence, because on top of it, it does have an angel with a wreath just outstretched above her head.
Mm-hmm. I believe this same angel image is also predominant in Mexico City.
Yes, the statue is actually in Mexico City.
Yeah. So you see it around Mexico City represented quite a bit. I mean, Mexico City is a massive city, everyone. I don't think people appreciate. There's 23 plus million people in Mexico City. It is, I think, at the time when I was in Mexico, and even maybe still today, it is the most populous city in the world.
Yeah, I mean, the monument was the construction on it started in 1902.
Interesting.
And then it has over 2,400 stones in it.
Now, with respect to, we talked about the similarities to U.S. currency from the layout and the feel, the dimensions, and the material, but it also has some similarities to Canadian currency as well, right?
Yeah.
So you have that border of ones
Yes.
that you talked about all the way around the note. And by the way, that's similar to the specifically beginning in the 1937 series of Bank of Canada notes. Go check out those videos, folks. We're really proud of those. So there are some similarities. And actually, did you know that I would say within the last 30 to 40 years, the United States dollar has been used as a pegged currency for other international currencies?
Really?
Did you know that? Yes. The Mexican peso, however, has been used as a peg for other currencies as well. And other currencies also take their influences and designs from the Mexican peso, including Japanese yen, Chinese yuan, and also the South Korean currency, I believe. So, very interesting. The Mexican peso has played a very dominant role over time in history, so I think some people tend to discredit it in some cases, just given inflation, etc., political issues within Mexico. But it has been very much a driving force in international trade. So it's a cool banknote, or should I say ticket. So that is the one Mexican peso ticket. Is there anything else you want to say about this note?
Just want to describe the back of it just a little bit more for our viewers here. I mean, they can obviously see that there's actually 4 dominant ones outside the border. There's a dominant one on each side of the image of the monument, and then the top, bottom, and then beside the image there's a smaller one.
It's a lot of ones.
Yes, 8 of them total.
That's a lot of ones. Now, I do have a question. We are going to get to the additional tickets or notes in this series in additional videos, but you know these notes or tickets better than I do. Do the other notes or tickets have similar layouts on the back, or are they more or less intricate?
I mean, I would like, the 5 is similar to the 1, but it has a different print pattern. The 10 is definitely different.
Okay.
From what I can see.
Gotcha. And we'll get to those, of course, further on in the series with additional videos. Anything else you want to say about this note?
Besides, it's actually the one that we're going to be pictured is pretty crisp, pretty nice, and overall a nice bill.
Yes, your note in the series is nicer than my note from the series. So, anything else you want to say about the note?
Not at this time. They can definitely get a glimpse through the images that we are showing.
Go ahead and rustle that note a little bit more. You can hear the crispness in that note.
Yeah.
So it's not a wash note or a heavily circulated note. It seems like it's a very crisp, very nice conditioned note, as you said.
Yes.
All right, folks, that is the 1 peso ticket from the 1963 series from the Bank of Mexico. Hope everybody enjoyed the video. Check out all of our additional videos here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out the Frugal Snobs podcast, where we essentially just talk about a lot of cool things every single week. If not every week, every other week, depending on holidays and scheduling. But we have the big episode 100 coming up, so check it out at frugalsnobs.com or on your podcatcher of choice. Make sure to subscribe, be well, never pay retail, and we'll see everyone down the road. Take care of yourself and each other, everybody.